says they're using appliances to spy on people without warrants. Google puts out press releases admitting they're using cameras and onboard microphones to watch people. Google has been caught now stealing username and passcodes with wireless trucks and cars. Told you that years ago. Everything is beyond insane. World government's being set up. I can't go to the Kite Festival now without troops. I can't go to Houston without having them come after my genitals, the TSA pervs. Searching bags without warrants. They're confirming that they're dressing up in weird, made-up local police jurisdiction outfits. I mean, this is right out of Romancing the Stone, where Colonel Zorro, or whatever his name is always wearing a new uniform. I mean, this is bad. This is bad. And I think the guy's upset. I'm going to try to do an MO here on him. Either he's got family or he himself has been involved in police actions in the military, dressing up, and he's very upset hearing the military call in and say 9/11's an inside job, hearing the military call in and say the bin Laden thing's fake. It's freaking him out, and he can't handle it. Let me just say this to you right now. Aaron, what do you do? Okay, are you in the military? Are you in the Minnesota Guard? Why are you so upset about us exposing the fact that we're all being acclimated to different types of military occupation?
Okay, first off, I'm not upset. But anyways, what am I? I am a reporter in the alternative media, just like you. And I think a reporter has a duty to get both sides of the story.
Okay, P-brain, shut up for a minute. P-brain, you're a P-brain. I mean, I just cannot stand P-brains. I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to shut up for 1 minute, but I got to say this. You came out and said my reporter was terrible when Watson's the best I've got. He's awesome. He's super smart. I love him. Does a great job. And then I go, okay, show me the goods where Paul's wrong, because every once in a while we're wrong. We want to change it. And then it's just like, well, I talked to the colonel and the classified, unclassified operation and all this, and I want the goods. What did Paul say that wasn't right? Tell me in general that they aren't militarizing this country and that we aren't in trouble. Now, bring the goods. Deliver the goods. Or is this just about you being a little wimp that's jealous of how big this show is? Show me the goods right now, and then I got to go to other callers.
I sent the goods yesterday to writers at Infowars.com, all right?
Okay, what are the goods then? What are the goods? Tell me on air now. How am I wrong? How am I scum? How am I bad? I want to know. Tell me now. Tell me now.
Those guys are under the command of the state of Minnesota, the governor. So they're not U.S. troops marching around. Those weapons had blanks in them, and there's all kinds of details.
Oh, you know what? Oh, did you know that under... No, put him on hold. Oh, okay, there you go. See, he wants troops all over. Buddy, I got National Guard, regular Army, regular Marines. Have you seen Police State for the Rise of Freedom? Guys, type in armed Marines in Alabama or Marines at DWI checkpoints. It's so incredible. The point is that they've already federalized the National Guard under the states and the governor. They federalized the National Guard. Yes, the governor still has some control. I've actually read the John Warner Defense Authorization Act 2007 that began to federalize them. I mean, I guess gun confiscation didn't happen in Katrina, and it was a joint operation with regular Army, big Army. And I'm sorry, go ahead, continue. Go ahead and scream at me. I like that. I like that. That's good. Come on.
Well, you can. What do you expect? You know, I have my limits too. Anyways, they're not on 24/7 federalization. They go off and on. See, another thing, you don't understand all the details, man.
I know. I'm not into the classification, and I haven't been dyed in the wool with your esprit de corps. I'm a nobody. I'm a civilian. I'm a scum American. And I'm wrong. There's not troops. There's not TSA. There's not secret police. They didn't kill that chicken farmer. Everything's fine. Oh, let me ask you, do you believe that bin Laden was really killed last year by Barry Soetoro?
No, and I'm not arguing. I like Paul Watson too, but you got that Steve Puke cynic on here who calls for Jeb Bush to be on the ticket, and Ron Paul is just a medical doctor. Let me tell you something, Puke cynic. You're just a shrink.
Well, listen, here's the deal with Pachinik. Pachinik now has come out against Petraeus and all that. These are just people he knows, and I mean, he is a very interesting character. I'll just leave it at that. And he's a real person, and he got, mad earlier when I was running on like I do, which is fine. He didn't really get mad. He said, look, Alex, this is a diversion from what I wanted to cover. I'll come back on when it's the bin Laden thing. And I actually apologize, for doing what I do, but I'm real. And so I'm sorry for yelling and screaming at you, but let me just ask you this question. Are they not in the process of Homeland Security, of militarizing everything? I mean, is that not going on?
Explanation. Again, I'm just a reporter. I'm trying to get both sides.
Okay, what else is wrong? What else? I'm trying to get both sides. Hey, is there both sides if somebody walks up to your mother and beats her brains out with a baseball bat for no reason?
Of course not.
Okay, listen, our country is turning into a classical, flaming, out-of-control police state.
No, those guys are sworn to uphold the Constitution, man.
You gotta be Sir, have you heard the military calling in? They know what's going on is wrong. I can't go to the kite festival now without military out there trying to grab my... thank you for the call. Let's go to Michael before he hangs up. East Coast says he's CIA. I got to hear this. So what part of the CIA are you in, Michael? Oh, yes, this is very nice.
40% of all high school graduates do not pass the Armed Forces entrance exam. And when you think of how they have compartmental stupidity in the military and other agencies across the United States, you wonder what's going on. And when you find out what is going on at Camp Perry, otherwise known as the Armed Forces Experimental Training Activity, they've had unprecedented infrastructure growth, fiber optics lines, advanced communication systems, and it's full of all these independent contractors that have watered down America's mission. As far as Osama bin Laden, when you think of the time from Bush to Obama, why do you think it took so long? And they're dragging their feet to prop up the military-industrial complex. How many agents do you think are in Iran that are trying to disrupt and use guerrilla tactics? None, hardly, maybe 50 at the most. And that's the thing. America's future is in the balance right now. And the mindset in Washington, our elected officials could care less of what's going on with America because they've been manipulated by the lobbyists. And they're not doing what's in the best interest of America, especially when you look at the manufacturing base in America. In the 1970s, 25% of all jobs were in manufacturing, and now we're looking at 9%. And that 9% is mostly military industrial complex. We've got to do something to bring up this economy. We've got to have a politician that is going to inspire a nation with down-to-earth, concrete ideas.
So I take it you don't believe that they killed the Easter Bunny last year in Pakistan?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing about these military jackboot state stuff that you talk about, they're putting a lot of armed forces people in police positions. If they come back and they don't have a job, they're going to drink and take drugs, and they're going to shoot people up. They've got to have something to do. And if
they've got to shoot up the American people, I agree. Give them something to do.
Next thing you know, and the next thing you know, we're going to have a 10 to 15% real unemployment rate. And we've been propping up nations with our bases across the globe. We're subsidizing economies across the world with our military when we should start focusing on...
Sir, I hear you. Great points. We've got active police. Will in Texas has info on Farmer. Interesting call, sir. Okay, Will, you're a police officer. What's your news?
Hey, Alex. Good afternoon.
Are you enjoying the ranting?
Yeah, I always enjoy a good rant, especially on InfoWars. I'm originally from Metro Atlanta in Georgia, and I worked in law enforcement. It's where I cut my teeth in law enforcement, was actually in the Roswell area in Fulton County. And one of the things I want to point out is Fulton County and Metro Atlanta is unique that they have a sheriff's office and a marshal's office.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's actually two different divisions of law enforcement. The sheriff is an elected constitutional official, and the marshal is an appointed position from the Board of Commissioners. And the marshal's position and his deputy marshals, mainly what they're there for is the movement of inmates from pretrial detention centers to going forward for trial and this sort of thing. If you can imagine, when they leave jail and go to the courthouse, the marshals are kind of the ones who kind of sit and babysit the inmates as they're awaiting their arraignments or court hearings and this sort of thing. It's highly unusual to me that the marshals would be the one doing the civil process on the chicken man. and Roswell.
Well, my issue is we've called all these groups, and the papers say everyone denies they did it. And then now this fella called in who sounded credible, and everything he said tumbled into place, because I know this goes on, and said no, Brigade Homeland raided the house.
Throw a little more info towards you, Alex. When your reporters went to what you're calling, it looks like a Capitol building, Roswell City Hall, you encountered some officers that were not Roswell police officers proper. What they actually are municipal complex police officers. They work for City Hall. They do not work for the police department. If you can imagine, they're kind of trumped-up bailiffs that work for the city.
No, I understand. They were wearing the same uniforms, and we were wondering why the captain was saying, we'll talk to this sergeant, he's in charge. And we're like, what?
Exactly. And it didn't make sense, right? So I actually know someone, trained and worked with someone who works at the municipal complex as a municipal complex police officer. And I put a call into him after hearing your reporting, because to tell you the truth, I'm out of contact with home. I didn't know this kind of stuff was going on. I knew the chicken man. He was a good guy. I used to get free eggs from him. I mean, he was a real nice fellow. And I made a phone call to this gentleman that I know that works for the municipal complex and asked him, hey, what the hell's going on? And pretty much what he told me was we had nothing to do with it, and that's as much as he would tell me.
What do you think about everybody acting scared and no one saying who actually went there or what happened? And we say, well, yeah, go ahead.
No, a lot of times when you have guys that have 15, 16 years invested into the retirement system, they're going to not rock the boat. They're going to go and there's going to be a party line. Usually there's inter-office memorandums that come out saying, hey, listen, refer reporters or whomever to this person, and you're not to say anything. And I think in this particular case, that's what happened. But I will tell you, knowing how it works in Fulton County, Georgia, it's real suspicious to me that the Fulton County Marshals would be out doing civil service, especially when you add into this factor, Alex. Supposedly, the chicken man had, I guess, said that he wasn't going to be taken alive. At least that's kind of the party line of what's being said. Why in the world would you not send the sheriff's office, who deal with criminal situations, if there was going to be some sort of barricade situation or that kind of thing, why would they not go out? And
well, let me say this. I've got the documents. I've talked to the people. Are you aware? Have you heard about the Fort Hood? Because you're saying you're calling from Texas. Did you know Fort Hood responds covertly with troops to aid police on a routine basis all over the state?
Not from Fort Hood, Alex, but I have been part of situations where we've had troops from Camp Bullis and Fort Sam Houston coming out in quote-unquote support missions. There have been several incidents that I know personally of down in the valley of Texas where local law enforcement on the county level and federal troops, and I know you had the one guy who was trying to make the differentiation between National Guard, Reserve, and active duty troops, where they were all working side by side. So, yeah, I'm aware.
Look, my cousin, before he got deployed again, he's been in the Army 20-something years, his job is merging the National Guard with Big Army out at Bergstrom. I mean, they're merging. I'm sure they got different patches, but they're merging. And that's why I started blowing up with the guy, because he was just making stuff up, basically, saying, well, they're just National Guard.